So the Masterfit Spacemaker shell stretching toolkit has a lot of different shapes that are common to working on shells. What you'll notice is they're a little cooler looking. These are brushed stainless steel bunion pops, and also we got a brushed stainless steel oval. The nice thing about these, if you look at this, it's a little bit different. We have a threaded post. If we wanted to play around with the axis of pressure, we can move that post to a different location. For right now, I'm going to leave this post in its normal zone, right in the middle of this oval. And let's just do a demonstration on the most simple shell stretch going. Let's just do a bunion stretch on that medial first metatarsal head. So let's go ahead and use the small one. We'll use a small bunion, and we'll move that out of the way. We'll use this as a blocker on the other side. So we'll set this up in typical fashion, one on each side of the ram. Let's go ahead and heat up the shell. We'll just do a traditional bunion stretch and maybe throw in a couple little tricks. This is a Technica Demon Boot. It's a polyether shell. It'll take us a little while to heat it up. We're going to get it up to about 300 Fahrenheit externally. It'll probably be about 230 internally, and we'll go ahead and do the stretch. Yeah, you know, typically stretching a polyurethane or a polyether plastic shell, it's going to take us about 3 to 4 minutes getting it up to full temp. Maybe a little bit less. We can get pretty aggressive with the heating on those typical plastics. They handle pretty rapid heating, but I'm going to give it a break, let that heat penetrate. You can see the shell getting a little glossy. You can see my finger on the inside waving at you. Yeah, it's you know, pretty fundamental shell stretching technique to keep your internal finger on the plastic, you know, gauging that heat. I want to feel how hot it's getting on the inside. I'm going to watch the shell on the outside. It might get glossy, it might be discolored. I don't want to blister or bubble the shell. I might set the heat gun down, you know, give it a break. It's a great chance to grab a temperature sensing pistol, and we'll just see what kind of temp we're dealing with right there. You know, as I give it a break from that external heat source, it starts getting hotter on the inside as that heat penetrates through the plastic. So we're at about 225 externally. Go ahead and give it a little more heat here. Usually that bunion is just behind that first buckle. You can see my fingers inside. Sometimes the shell gets a little glossy. Yeah, now we're up over 300 externally. You can see the temperature dropping. It's just about 300 now. It's getting pretty hot on my finger on the inside. Externally, it's dropped underneath 290. What I'm feeling for is about 230 Fahrenheit on my fingertip internally, and that's about when your Mexican entree plate they give you is too hot to touch. They say, don't touch, hot plate, here it comes. So that's about the way that plastic should feel on the inside. Okay, woo! And I can feel it hot right there, so I'm going to turn this to cool and set it aside. And yeah, sure enough, we're up around 220, 215 externally. It's super hot inside. I'm going to go ahead and drop our ram inside the shell, lining up the bunion where she needs to be. Let's go ahead and spin this manually. We're starting to get a little tension on the boot. I can see that Spacemaker ram. I'm just going to reach inside there and move that forward where it needs to be. Just behind that first buckle. Takes a little oomph. Let's give her a little bit more push there. And this is a pretty big stretch. I'm going to back that off just a touch. That looks pretty good right there. I'm going to give this a little buckle tension. Boom. I'm going to close that second buckle. Close up our top. That's right where I need it. If I wanted to make sure this was a little bit more defined and didn't accidentally stretch it behind the bunion, I could use a clamp to close that down. Or I might use a pretty simple technique. We'll just throw a cam strap on there. Just right behind that stretch zone. Give it a little bit of tension. And that'll keep us a little bit more defined right at the bunion stretch. So this one's good to go. Kind of nice that you can see through that translucent plastic that's hot that we've got that Spacemaker bunion popper right in there. So we just leave that be. We can let that cool on its own. We could chill it down in a box of snow. We could put it in a sink with some running water on it. We could set it outside. As soon as that's cool all the way through, that's going to be a permanent stretch with very little return.